I remember the first customer I went to. It was a liquor shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to pitch to them. They asked me, how much is this? They said 500 shillings. I said 500 shillings. And they're like, fine, I'll pay right now.
Wow.
And they paid.
Yeah.
And they asked me, does the app have this and this? We didn't have. The next day, I go to them. We have it. You can imagine we were working night,
through the night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and
And the
we
clock.
keep on doing this. So we go to the next customer. How much do you charge? 1,000 bob. Like, okay, let me pay now. And then you guys
Yeah.
come and
This
set
is
up
per
to-
month.
This per month.
Mm-hmm.
You get. But I was like, these guys are paying very fast. Meaning I have a solid idea here.
Mhm.
You know, that's when you're getting
Mhm.
to your product market fit.
Yeah.
Then you go to your next customer. And I was like, 1,000 bob per month will not carry it. And then started charging 10,000. I was like, yeah. The customer said, I'll pay. Pay tomorrow. He paid.
Wow.
I was like,
Damn.
let's go higher.
Wow.
15,000. Okay, I'll pay. Then I remember there was a customer who told us to go to Nyamakema.
Mm-hmm.
You know where they sell electricals.
Mm-hmm.
And boss, they paid 15,000, but we stayed there for an entire month. You know, the guy, you walk into a shop, you think whatever you're seeing is the only stock they have. Then they pay, then they're like, they give you an apron, and they're like, let me show you where the real stock is. So they tell you, go to the rooftop, boss.
Wow.
So they
Then-
want you to put all that inventory.
Imagine.
into the
Mm.
system.
I was like, this doesn't work.
Hello, champions. Welcome back to another episode of Chapter Champions, where we bring you Kenya's and Africa's movers and shakers. And today we're joined by Abraham Mbuthia. We call him Abu.
Yes,
We've been friends for a long, long time,
sure.
and he's been shaking the industry for sure, the technology space. He's currently the founder CEO at Uzapoint and MyZola, which he's going to tell us more about.
Sure.
We're very happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So, Abu, our first question is obviously the same all the time.
Mhm.
Who is Abu?
Okay. So as you've well put, Abu is my name. I'm the CEO and founder of Uzapoint. Other than that, I wear many hats. So I have about 3 hats to my name. But before I even get to those hats, I'm a passionate entrepreneur, very innovative. Been in the space for almost 10 years, building and innovating. Other than that, I'm very keen on product development. And because of that, then I've got into the space, built Uzapoint now for 4 years. I also wear another hat as the CEO of DPK. DPK is a CBK regulated PSP. Other than that, I've recently now rolled out a product called MyZola, which is a personal financial management app. Uzapoint is a product that empowers SMEs to become more efficient, become more accountable, and become more profitable. So that's what we do, and we'll talk about more about what we do. All those
You've
products.
heard,
Wow.
guys, a man of many hats, and
I
those
know.
many hats, like he does them really well. He's
Mhm,
been, I know you've gotten several accolades, top 40 under 40 men,
Yes.
top men, influential
Mhm.
men in
Yes, in
digital.
Kenya.
You're the e-commerce personality of the year as well.
Yes,
last year.
Yeah, definitely.
So very, very well done.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
what is one of your life quotes that has led you to all these successes?
Okay. Maybe just to add on to it before I even say the quote. I think last year we also, through Uzapoint, we managed to be part of the Black Founders Fund. I think that was a very good accolade and achievement.
That's by Google.
By Google, of course, getting Google to invest in one of the biggest top brands. That's something we truly appreciate. So one of my biggest quotes and mantras is: if you don't jump, you'll never fly. So it's always about getting yourself out of there comfort zone. So imagine you're here on top of a building and you just decide to fly. The point is you don't know where you will land and how it will be. So being that risk taker, getting out there and just trying something new. That's my mantra. Always pushing myself out of the comfort zone, risking it all. Until you see some level of success, but it's never easy. You can imagine.
I'm sure you'll tell us about the challenges and everything. When did that life quote really hit you? Len, when did you decide that I'm not going to be a normal guy, I'm going to fly, I'm going to be different?
Okay, that's a good question. I think my journey begins when I was in university. That's when I really got that entrepreneurship bug that you all get. So in university, I was doing BBIT. I was in Strathmore University. Again, also joining Strathmore was also like a big thing because initially I wanted to be a DJ. So I had no interest in becoming an IT person. Actually, my brother was doing IT and my folks were like, just do a degree for us. And I decided to just do IT for us. At least I can do my DJing. I can be, I'm a fun guy. I want to be out there. But I was like, let me do the degree for them.
Then you can be DJ Abu.
Then I can be DJ Abu. We learned from CK. DJ CK.
DJ
but at the end of the
CK.
day, he's a corporate guy.
And the CEO of Goldman Sachs.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a
he's
DJ.
a solo one. Yeah.
Really?
He's a
still
DJ.
DJs.
He still DJs.
Okay. I think there's a DJ bag as well.
There's still hope.
There's hope, exactly.
Well, now it's been almost more than 10 years. I've not done it. I think I was played somewhere. But anyway, so they told me to do the degree. Then during the holidays, I'll do DJ classes. I think I finished my degree. I'm yet to become a DJ. I need to ask them a few questions. But anyway, so got myself into IT. But again, also being in Strathmore, there were so many things I wanted to do. I wanted, doing IT, you want to have the best laptop, you have to have the best devices. You need to live the lifestyle that your friends there are living. And so challenged myself to get a job. And at that point, I got a job in a company. That time is when mobile banking was new in the industry. And USSD was a big thing in terms of how to access your mobile banking, etc. People are using Symbian technology. I don't know whether you remember the QWERTY keypads, devices, Nokia. And then Windows was a big thing. Anyway, so now mobile banking became something that is interesting. And so during the holidays, a company was looking for quality assurance person, what they call QA, to test those applications before they get to the market. So Android was just getting into the market, and iOS had just, I think Steve Jobs had just launched the first iPhone around that time. So they needed someone to test. And again, to test in terms of iOS, you need to have the latest MacBook, have an Apple device to test all those things. So nobody in the market, in the Kenyan market, had all those things. So I got there, I tested a few applications. One was for one of the largest banks in Kenya. And surprisingly, they liked what I did because their UAT test was about 45%. About 2 weeks in with them, it got to about 65 or 70%, thereabout. So they were like, who's this young man who's come to test apps? And now we are getting a success rate. And most of these banks are paid based on milestones. So they were like, they're making money. And I started now loving product at that particular point. Now, the devs who are developing these things were just doing it from a technical angle. Me, I'm just looking at things from a very user-friendly point of view.
How can we make it better?
How can I make it better? And how can it serve the final consumer? So that's how I started realizing that now I'm actually interested in tech and most importantly, product development and being part of the product cycle. So we did a lot of UATs, testing, and it got to a point where we got a success rate for that bank. And after that, they told me to do the documentation. The way you have to do a user manual. So I was in third year at the time. So my holiday after second year, did it, completed, stayed 3 months there. Then they were like, Abraham, we still need you to come back and do this for us. So can you consult for us when you're still in school?
Yeah.
And that's how I got my first 30K salary when I'm still in school. So you can imagine third year and fourth year, there was no studying being done. How I got the degree I got. Well, you work. I used to attend those classes. You can imagine now thereafter.
Yeah.
Nobody's earning 30K at that
Yeah,
time. So
yeah.
it was solid. I enjoyed myself.
Yes.
It was a good stint. And I think that's how I got myself into the tech space. And I wanted to build. And I remember in this company, there used to be two guys who were directors. One was like technical, another one was business. And this business guy, every Wednesday afternoon, used to go to play golf.
Oh,
And I was like, oh my, this is the life I want. so that's how I got myself into tech, building products. Yeah. And that's now slowly by slowly started now thinking of how then can I build my own.
Okay.
I remember at a certain point, there was a website that needed to be changed, the logo. And I was the one given that task.
Okay.
You can imagine those times, eh? And I took 1 week to change that logo. Because I was being paid on a daily rate.
Oh
And
my
I
goodness.
stayed for 1 week to change that logo. And, you get paid. But I was like, just to make such a change request, I ended up seeing some file somewhere how much that customer had invoiced the bank or whatever institution they were dealing with. I was like, this is a lot of money. So, of course, that motivated me to start my own.
I want to be the one invoicing.
I want to be the one invoicing, not to be given the crumbs. But anyway, so that's how the journey started.
Man, that story is hilarious. I'm still trying not to laugh. 1 week change the logo. So you have a very interesting story where what eventually became Uzapoint was actually like a project that started in school.
Exactly.
So it's an interesting story from, DJ.
Yeah.
Then you go to school just to like give your parents a degree. Now you're working for a bank and you're doing some amazing things to discover product.
Yes.
So tell us about this school project and how it eventually became a business.
Okay. So you can imagine I'm in third year, I'm dealing with, so it was actually a company that is building products for a bank. But again, your final customer is the bank, right? So you go to different banks, you learn the infrastructure. Till late, I just look at some of those manuals and I'm like, I can build a bank and probably one day I should. But anyway, so when now I got to fourth year, remember I'm not even attending those classes. It actually got to a point where I was suspended from university. I was about to become the Mark Zuckerberg and all those people. It's just that it wasn't Harvard. But I hope Strathmore is like our Harvard. Anyway, so at fourth year now, we meant to pick a project so that we graduate. And I was like, let me pick a certain project. So at that time, I was like, there's a big problem in distribution. And we had already gotten an interest of someone who's manufacturing company, listed manufacturing company till date. And they wanted a distribution management system. And so started contracting for them on the side. And so I was like, this could be my project because now I have a bit of experience. We had gone to the customer, done some reconnaissance and all that. So I was like, I can do this for my project. And so I did a lot of study. I loved the market research bit, did a lot of study. And then I was like, yes, let me roll this out. So it was basically a mobile application that the people in distribution or sales, they call them sales reps also, who would use this application to post their inventory when they're in the field. And then the MD or the big bosses back in the HQ will see the transactions real time. Okay. So that was the concept of the app. And then when you're selling using the app, then you can also configure it to a Bluetooth printer and generate receipts for people real time. So similar concept to what we do now at Uzapoint, but just initially it was for the distributor. And we did this, and it was a big listed company which came on board at that particular time. And so I submitted this for my project, and you can imagine I passed because I had real-time experience with the customer. So instead of attending the classes, I'm going to listen to this customer, understand. We go with those vans, we distribute, etc. And it was a very nice experience. So that's where Uzapoint started at. However, I think at that particular point, we realized how long it takes to just convert one customer. The preliminaries took maybe close to 9 months before we even got the first check. So you're doing a lot of meetings, a lot of back and forth. You have to present to I don't know how many committees, etc. And then by the time you even get your first check, it's still 50% of the project.
Jeez.
And you can imagine I don't have any money other than
yes.
the money I've been stacking up a bit.
Yeah.
So we did that distribution, but I was like, man, this has taken us 9 months to get our first check. It was a decent check, short of 1 million by 50,000.
Okay.
So I would have
About
wished
$10,000.
about $10,000 at the time.
That's good. So just on that point,
and I'm in campus. You can imagine.
I know. And just on that point, just so that our audience can have context, there's this thing when you're starting a business, maybe people don't think about, which is how much time it takes you to acquire that customer should be proportional to the amount you bill that customer.
Yes.
So if you acquire them in a day, then
Yes.
probably that product should be cheap. So just walk us through how you thought about that.
Now, I wish it would be a case scenario of where we knew we had enough knowledge on how to do pricing. At that time, pricing was not determined by us. It was actually determined by the customer, unfortunately. But as you build a product market fit and as you have a few customers in terms of traction, then you end up knowing that you actually have a solid thing. At that particular time, we were trying to do more of proof of concept so that we have one customer we can have bragging rights about. So it was like, how much do you guys want us to charge? We can literally do this at almost nothing just for us to get this particular customer. So at that particular time, we had very little input in terms of the pricing, but over the last, because of that learning curve, we could see how much our running costs were across the project, and now we used that now in the subsequent customers that we actually got. And at that point is where now that was actually one of the biggest turning point into why I need to do this for SMEs as opposed to those big businesses, because I was like, to get a check of about 950,000 at the time, it has taken me 9 months. That's 100,000 a month. And still the project, by the time you're getting the check, that's when the project is starting. Then you need to go like another 6 months for you to get 50% post rollout. And then now you start billing yearly. You get. So it's like, this is not making business sense. So I was like, this same app that the van reps are using to post their sales, and there's a dashboard at the end, can be used by someone else. And at that time, I'd really researched about how the supply chain works, because the supply chain starts from the manufacturer to the distributor to the retailer to the consumer. So I was like, who else can use this? And I realized the model is still the same, and I can offer the retailers. And that's where now I started doing a lot of research on whether retailers can actually get to use a mobile application to do their bookkeeping, mostly in terms of the inventory management, their sales, their purchases, and expenses. So the same structure that we've given these big companies, let's give the same to these small businesses. And then the small businesses were meant to pay easily and faster, because you do a demo to them, they pay either immediately or after 2 days, or once. If it's a lady, they go and have a conversation with their husband. They have a board meeting at night. In the morning,
they approve.
They've approved. It's you don't go through a lot of bureaucracies.
That's true.
And now you get a lot of them, and that's why even till now we've managed to serve more than 1,500 customers till date who've used our product since 2020.
Wow. And just on that point, so I imagine shifting, so you basically shifted the segment from distributors, enterprise customers into smaller SMEs,
Yes.
So how difficult was that process? Did you have to re-engineer the product?
Yes.
Like, how difficult was that?
Well, it was not easy. I was joking with Tesh off the camera that we started that journey together at that particular point. So it's never easy, especially when you're pivoting, because these are new segments of customers that you're targeting. At that particular point, I had to go back to the market and understand. So I remember I went to almost close to 100 businesses. I always like to do my research by sampling about 100 businesses. So went, that time we were based in South B. I went to 100 small businesses. And at that particular time, I thought I would solve the problem for informal businesses. So informal, I mean the duka owners, the mama mboga, etc. So the first 6 months to 12 months, I tried it with them, even tried to give them for free. It was not working.
For 6 months?
Yes.
Wow.
More than almost close to a year. it was not working because these guys are used to their book, and some don't even have a book. They just keep track of what they're selling for certain items. What is the fastest moving item? Maybe their milk, their airtime, tissue.
I'm laughing because this guy's their book is in the head.
The book is in the head. That's the reality. You get. And actually, when I tell people my biggest competitor is that black book, don't know who manufactures it. We need to have a conversation.
The Karatasi brand.
Karatasi brand, yeah. So anyway, that's our biggest competitor because that's the biggest automation they have. But anything else is in their head. You ask them the price of a product, that one is 30 bob. That one is 20 shillings.
So is it a case like the problem exists in the entrepreneur's mind, but then it's not there for the consumer? Like, what did you find out?
So it's a mix of both, but it's so many factors. One of the things is the tech savviness of some of these people, because some of them have started a business just as a way of growing up. There was always that duka, that kiosk where you grew up. So that was the biggest business around, and that's what people aspired to do. And most of the people who bought large pieces of land early in the days had a shop. So they were not educated, they were not tech savvy, and that has worked for them for years. The other thing is also the cost of taking up technology, because think about it. Unless you're offering an offline solution, you need access to internet, you need access to a device, a mobile device or a computer. Then you need that constant sticklerness for detail to make sure the inventory is put in well into the system, is put out, all that. They don't have that time. These guys, the moment they open the shop, there are people lining up there, whether it's a distributor dropping their products, or it's customers who need to buy milk and bread before the kids go to school. So they don't have that time. So there are a lot of factors, but some of them, other than the tech savviness and all that, is just the way their business is structured is very hard to accommodate this kind of technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, wow, these are like some really key learnings. So you had to now do another pivot from the
I had to do
informal.
a pivot from informal.
So what made you say this is enough with this segment? Let me go to another one. And how was
of course you try
was
different
following?
models in terms of pricing. So started first for free because it was a pilot, and then you start maybe charging 100 shillings. You see them dropping off, say 200, they drop off. I'm like, I wouldn't make any money with this unless
you get a million.
Yes. Unless even if you have a million and they're paying zero, I still think the value is zero. So, and even if they pay 100 and you have a million, I mean, that's not even worth the effort, because think about it. Part of the ways to get these guys on board, you need to do training, you need to do setup. Their catalog, or what we call the SKUs they have in terms of the number of products they have, are so many. You get, in terms of variants, every single day, a different distributor is dropping new items, and they will drop them even at almost for free, So it just keeps on increasing. And at that particular time, it then becomes very hard. It becomes very hard for these people to change and change their model. So at that point, I knew it wasn't going to work.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And what did you do next? Like, what did you pivot into next? And also, how are you funding the business this entire time?
There are so many things.
Hey, bro, you got a million check.
I got a million check.
From the distributor.
The 950K check. Because the 950K check was not, it helped for some time. But now, once we finished school, we had to set up like an office. We started with a bed sitter, got a bed sitter in South B, bought plastic chairs. Wow. We had a table like this size, and then everybody sitting on the other side, plastic chairs, one printer. So all that was used to set up our first office. Then after that, when I finished university, we used to have a trip. Okay. You go abroad. I think that time we were going to Paris. So I told my folks, I don't want a graduation party. I don't want this trip. Give me that money and I'll start my business. So took up that sacrifice. So used a bit of that capital to start. And then also in the way now after that, because these funds, deplete in like 3 months. It's not like you have a runway for
Yeah,
a
it's
year.
true.
So I started doing where business started. If you remember the history of business, it started with barter trade. There was no money.
Okay.
So I started doing barter trade. I remember my lawyer can confirm that we used to do barter trade. I used to build our website. She does legal services for me.
Oh my gosh.
And many other people.
So you use your skills.
I just use my skills.
Barter trade with other
Barter
vendors
trade
or
with other people, yeah.
consultants. Okay.
Especially people who I need their services and they can't afford. So it's
Like, I'll
what you
build
call-
your website.
I can build your website. And boss, I'm not technical
That's
in
so
any way.
interesting. Okay.
So it's what we call bootstrapping, starting from literally anything and trying to see what resources you have available for you. So I remember that was a big part of how we survived. Also building websites for people. Now the first website I built was for my lawyer, and once I did that on WordPress, I realized I have the capacity to build WordPress websites. So used to build some on the side, pay developers, etc. But I remember we fast forward, now we actually got a 1 million check. And that's something big to talk about. So I remember there was Lions Den, which started premiering. When did it start premiering? I think in 2017, thereabout. So we were in the first cohort, if there's a cohort for that matter, of Lions Den. Very ambitious, very aggressive. I remember we were talking outside and they're saying how I was a limelight person. I was
Yes.
I could be in all these pitching competitions
Yes.
and award ceremonies at that particular time. Won to 40 under 40 at 23, so you can imagine. But so there was this competition that was there for Total. Again, I think it was the second time running. They skip a year. Total Startup Challenge. So they do this across, I don't know how many countries, like 90 or so, across the world.
Yeah.
And in every country, they were choosing 3 companies to give capital. And so you start pitching out of about 2,000 applicants, got shortlisted to 10. And then after 10, now you go for the award ceremony and you don't know who's winning. The top winner was getting 2.5 million. The second winner was getting 1.5 million.
Yeah.
And the third winner was getting 1 million. So you can tell where I was. I was the second runners up. And you can imagine that moment. Whenever they're announcing, they start from
Yes.
So drum rolls, Abraham Mbuthia. I mean, and they give you that card for 1 million. So that's the first 1 million. This 950K check was just meant to be a stepping stone. Anyway, so I think also that 1 million helped us to push a lot. At that time, the cost of developers and all that wasn't a lot. So pushed a bit, especially in 2019, building the product. What I've not said is we built this product 6 times from ground up. And
like you rebuild.
You start build for like 4 or 5 months. Some developers run away. When the others come, they're like, boss, this thing is not robust enough to scale. Then you build
It's built on sticks.
or sand. Or sand. So in a few days, you won't have any product.
This can only accommodate 100 merchants. So no one, it crashes.
It crashes. So rebuilding. So now this was the 5th iteration, 2019, and that's what we've rolled out to the product since then. Now we're on a 6th iteration, which we'll probably be rolling out very soon.
This one is on stone.
This one is on stone. Even the 5th one was on stone. It's just that now things have changed over time. Technology keeps on changing. So every other day things are changing. Yeah.
You mentioned something to do with you're a limelight person, and you got 1 million shillings that you could bootstrap with.
Imagine.
Yeah. So what changed, and how did that limelight then help you propel?
Okay.
The reason I'm asking is I see many tech founders, not many. I think maybe its ratio is 50-50. The people who make noise too early, the people who are on stealth. You know those guys.
Black with a hoodie and a balaclava.
Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah. So is that really stealth? You've already told us you're building. So
yeah.
What are your views on this?
So I think initially I had no product. Let me even put it this way. By the time I was winning Total Startup, I wish you see my slide. I went, bought an apron.
Okay.
You know those aprons that Mama Mbogas usually wear? Bought an apron, bought a sticker. You can imagine the cost of that thing. I think it never even costed me more than 200 shillings.
Okay.
You get?
Yes.
I went and you remember the 100 customers I had?
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
So of course they were my buddies. So I took a photo
Yeah.
Yes.
and then I got a sticker for my phone and placed it at the back of the phone, and one of them was using it. And then so one is holding this. On one hand, she's holding the phone.
Yes.
On one hand, she's holding that black book.
Wow.
You get.
Karatasi.
And then I'm
Yes.
there next to them.
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
was the picture on
Oh,
my
gosh.
slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was basically storytelling.
Wow.
I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the vision I wanted to sell. And I remember in that room when I was being interviewed by, it was everybody, the chairman of NCBA was there, big people in that panel who were choosing the people who will be shortlisted. I remember them asking me, so you only have 100 customers. Why? What's your goal? If we give you this money, how will you transform from 100 to 1,000? But they could see the vision from that photo. So at that particular time, it was basically, and this is what I tell young entrepreneurs, you don't need to have anything. Nowadays people say, I don't have an iPhone, I can't shoot videos, I don't have a MacBook, I can't don't have capital. No, I always say, you can tell your story and someone will buy into your story. And at that particular time, that's all I used to do. I was like, this is my vision, this is my vision. And whatever way I could use to share my vision, even if you see my article on Top 40 Under 40, they never said I've achieved success. They were like, this guy has a very good vision. That's what they put on paper. But at that particular time, that's what I was selling. And then post now the grant by Total and many other things that followed, I was like, this is the time now to go back to actual business, because a story is just a story and it will not go so far. So it was now a matter of building, and now we got to a chance of building, and that time I had to roll up my sleeves and say, let's get to work. And I now wanted the product to speak for myself. So for the longest time, I didn't want to be all over. I just wanted, let my product sell. And I was saying, nowadays people go to restaurants, they take a photo of the receipt and WhatsApp me, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. Silent praises and all that. And I think also it's advisable. That's something I would advise that for entrepreneurs. There's that phase and that point, but also let your product speak for itself. Because if it's authentic, your product market fit, then the story should tell by itself. But initially, you have nothing to lose. Have nothing absolutely to lose. Chase, write on papers, right? People need articles to be published every single day for free. There are stories that need to be written. Write LinkedIn, write it every single day. Someone will see your vision. I remember there was a time in 2020 we had just put on our website SDGs. And we had said, as part of our SDGs, we want to create as many jobs. I can't even remember the thousands of jobs.
Eradication.
Yes, and our goal was that we want young people to be the ones to train and set up our merchants, because if we grow very fast, then we need young people to do this. And I just put that on the website. I wasn't even remembering. And I remember that was ticket number 5 raised on our website. Someone says, I want to sponsor this reseller program. What does it take? I've never even met that person till date. We just signed contracts online, wired some money, we did some training, we rolled out that program. So these things exist. They're not fictitious. People read stories, and for that particular person, they are just in an article for Total. Because Total was also doing a lot of crazy publishing. They put us on billboards. That was my first time on a billboard. I wish you saw my photo that time. I was looking malnourished.
Seeing it.
I was looking malnourished. But anyway, so people should talk about it. But at a certain point, let your products speak for yourself.
Yeah, makes sense. I think these are very incredible lessons. Give a story, tell the story so that you get people to back the vision.
Yes.
At the same time, build something
solid at the end of the day.
That works. That's all that really matters, the value you create.
Yes.
One of our mentors says there's no race to be won if you don't even show up. You're not even on the starting line.
Yes, exactly.
So I think a lot of entrepreneurs work very, very hard. Very, very, like, think about Olympics, it just ended. There's 10 people roughly who get to participate in the finals. How many people did it take before these guys get to the last 10? There are many other athletes out there working really, really hard. But what sets you apart from them?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's that article.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not enough. You have to
No.
push
Mhm.
on all sides.
And all avenues, all opportunities. You have to be there.
Yeah.
Show up.
Firing on all cylinders.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think also one thing that's really incredible about your story is even prior to that article, like and that Total Startup, you'd actually talk to 100 small business
Yeah,
owners,
yeah.
which I think is incredible. It gives you a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And like still you felt like you needed to do more for you to make Uzapoint like a business that will hold water.
Yes.
So like what actually changed now? Like what market segments started working? You can just tell us about that and even like where you are today.
Okay. So I remember we got the funding in 2019. Of course, again, that's just runway for a few months, really. It can only do so much. But slowly by slowly, I remember that was 2018. We were on Lions Den. We didn't secure funding. You're not advised to watch that video. Anyway, but after that, we got our first customer, which is a restaurant, one of the best seafood restaurants in Nairobi. And since then, more than I don't know how many years, they are our customer. So one of the guys there is a director of the film company that was also shooting. And so they listened to our pitch and they're like, you guys just need an opportunity to prove yourselves.
Wow.
And he came
pitching the film company for the where you're pitching
so
at
the
Total.
guy also had a restaurant.
Just showed up.
Showed up.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy is familiar because I'd seen him in like different spaces. He's a celebrity chef. Seen him in different spaces. So I was like, okay. He sent us an email. Like, give me your emails, and he sent us an email and said, please let's meet this particular place. You guys just need an opportunity and to a proof of concept as a customer. I'll be your guinea pig. If anything. And since then, they're our customers. So we started getting a few customers. That first customer for a restaurant took us almost 6 months to learn the restaurant business. Because imagine we're in retail, now we are getting to learn restaurant. And now we started getting a few of these customers. And then that money used to help us to get into the retail space. So 2020 COVID happened. Now things were tough. You can imagine 2020. But that's when we rolled out our mobile application and our new version 5 of the platform. At that particular point, we started. So COVID times, you can't do much. And there was a lot of online sales, etc. So we tried to get most of the customers to most people in retail to online because people are trying to shift online. And I remember at that particular time, as we were rolling out now, this is the SaaS version. I remember the first customer I went to. It was a liquor shop. And I tried to pitch to them. They asked me, how much is this? They said 500 shillings. I said 500 shillings. And they're like, fine, I'll pay right now.
Wow.
And they paid. And they asked me, does the app have this and this? We didn't have. The next day, I go to them. We have it. You can imagine we were working night,
through the night.
and we keep on doing this. So we go to the next customer. How much do you charge? 1,000 bob. Like, okay, let me pay now. And then you guys come and say,
This is per month.
This is per month. You get. But I was like, these guys are paying very fast. Meaning I have a solid idea here. That's when you're getting to your product market fit. Then you go to your next customer. And I was like, 1,000 bob per month will not carry it. And then started charging 10,000. I was like, yeah. The customer said, I'll pay. Pay tomorrow. He paid.
Wow.
I was like, let's go higher.
Wow.
15,000. Okay, I'll pay. Then I remember there was a customer who told us to go to Nyamakema. You know where they sell electricals. And boss, they paid 15,000, but we stayed there for an entire month. You know, the guy, you walk into a shop, you think whatever you're seeing is the only stock they have. Then they pay. Then they're like, they give you an apron, and they're like, "Let me show you where the real stock is." So they tell you, go to the rooftop, boss.
Wow.
So they want you to put all that inventory.
Imagine. I was like, this doesn't work. Yeah. So it was me. Remember that time I have one developer, one guy was helping me set up, then me. So we were given
the 15K was a deal to them.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Like, these guys, why are they charging 15,000? Like, remember your pricing question. You don't even figure it out. You just talk to customers and figure it out. So we stayed there for a month. I was like, 15,000 for a month. I have 3 people. How am I paying them? Anyway. So slowly by slowly, I was like, of course, we now need to charge for setup.
Mhm.
And that's why we started charging for setup, annual license, until we got to the pricing points where we're at. And now we also develop different tiers depending on the kind of business that we are serving. Right now, we managed to serve now segments like liquor shops, beauty shops, fashion shops. You know, your ordinary mall, it's hard to go to a mall where we are not there.
Wow.
Because I think, you know, almost every other mall in Kenya, there's a business that is using our platform. Nairobi CBD, we have so many businesses, you know, almost, you know, very many buildings in town where we are serving customers. Served over 1,500 customers since we started, more than 50 restaurants till date. So it's been a lot of impact. It's been a good journey. And the stories you hear for customers are what actually keeps us going. Remember, there was a customer who watched my Lions Den video and told me, Abraham, if you had given up, we'll be our POS vendor now. You know, those are
So they
sweet
remember
ones.
you from those
They
days.
remember me.
Yeah.
Actually, someone who saw the video had a testimonial with us. And as they were watching the testimonial, now YouTube loops now to my Lions Den video. I was like, this is where you've come from. Yeah. So when you get to hear some of these stories and get to hear how customers' lives have been transformed, then yes.
That's a lot of customers. And it sounds like your customers can pay. Tell us, how do you find these customers? For those who are wondering.
Yes.
So initially, we've tried many strategies. So initially, it was, and till date, I think our biggest form of marketing is referrals.
Okay.
And they say referrals is the best form of marketing, where business owners are in communities. That's what people never understand. They're in communities. So because they want to thrive together, they want to pull things together. If you do your research, you'll also notice that even most of them buy goods in bulk. Like let's say in beauty, and the customers we have in beauty was just a ripple effect of one customer, but spreading out. Household, the same, because the type of goods they sell are very small quantity. How do I put it? Very small pieces. So to do the CBMs they are required to ship, they need to pull resources.
The minimum order quantity needs to be high.
Quantity needs to be high. So for them to ship those products, they need to work as a group. You get me? So those people are in communities, and the moment you serve one, they'll be like, this is working for me. They tell the others. So like I remember in households, beauty, liquor shop, it's just been pure ripple effect. Even for restaurants, they'll be like, which restaurants have you done for? Oh, so you done for this? Come.
Okay.
Next day they come on board. So referrals has been our biggest form. Other than that, I think our brand has also grown through social media influencers. If you go to our page, you'll see some of the social media influencers we've worked with, some of the biggest brands on Instagram and all the other socials. So that has also been big because I always look at social media influencers as a way of, it's another level of referral marketing. It's because I trust Tesh as a brand, and anything Tesh says is like gospel truth, and this is the guy I look up to. You get me? So if this person is using my product, that's what I'm gonna use. So that has also been a big part of our marketing, and now we've gotten these customers. Other than that, we've tried a bit of door to door. It's been that one is a bit slow. But and of course Meta ads and Google ads. Then also on our platform, SEO is a big thing. If you search for best POS in Kenya, we are ranked at the top. So we get a lot of organic people just reaching out. But I think it's a combination of, again, many things.
On all cylinders.
Yes, you have to be all over.
Yes.
What we're also doing is getting into spaces, events where these SMEs are, and trying to penetrate those spaces. So that's how we've managed to acquire.
It's a robust strategy.
That's super cool. That's super cool.
Thank you.
And from the beginning, you just told us sort of like turned over a new leaf into two other hats you wear. So you becoming a PSP, which is insanely difficult in this country. So maybe you can tell us a bit more about that, what that allows you to do.
So for us, I think for our SMEs, we keep on trying to understand what are some of the challenges, emerging challenges that they face. And one of the biggest challenges SMEs have is reconciliation and payments problems. Payments is very fragmented in this particular market. And so when we got a PSP we could work with, that's our only investor. We were like, let's work together because if you know a company called Square, It was started by this guy who was a founder of
Twitter.
Yes. So Square is like one of the companies I look up to, and they do both payments and POS.
Cash App.
Yes. So you can never delink these two things, right? Cash App, right? So for us, payments has to go in tandem with POS, and that's why we offer payments and trying to get all these merchants to transact on our rails. Other than that, maybe so that's what we do on that arm.
Okay.
And PSP is payment service provider. It's one of the hardest licenses to acquire. So,
So that's what we do for those SMEs.
I see.
Yes.
I see. And also now MyZola.
Interesting.
So 8 years at Uzapoint, you mentioned. 1,500 businesses. And
more
then
than
there's something
1,500 businesses served.
More than 1,500 businesses served. So can you tell us more about MyZola? What is it? Why did you decide to go that direction?
Okay. I think you mentioned that there's something to do with 7 years. It gets to a particular point. Where you have to challenge yourself. I remember when I was starting business and getting to understand the startup ecosystem, everybody was saying B2C is hard. B2B is very easy. And you get a very big retention rate. But consumers, there's a book called Hooked. People need to read about it if they're targeting consumers. It talks about how you need to build very products which are very sticky. You get. And so I read that book. I was like, I need to challenge myself to this. But anyway, what are we doing at MyZola? MyZola first means peace. It's a South African name, meaning peace. And so the goal for this product is to give financial peace and financial freedom. I speak fintech fluently, and I believe by doing so, and that being the space that I'm in, we need to create financial inclusion. And we've done that through Uzapoint, through SMEs, and now I'm just doing the same thing with consumers. So for starters, what we're doing is getting ordinary users to have a personal financial management app to manage their spending. So budgeting, expensing, the same things we do at Uzapoint, but now for the consumers. So you can track how much you're spending, how much you're saving, investing. You can see your net worth. I see people who are being vetted, are being asked the net worth. I don't know how much. Do you know your net worth? Maybe when you use MyZola, you'll get to know.
Maybe when they're being vested in 5-10 years, they'll know. They'll be like, according to MyZola.
According to MyZola. So that's where we want to get people. But again, the goal is always, how do we get young people? People are earning salaries now, decent salaries at a very tender age. How do they become more aware? I made mistakes when I was getting my 950K check. When you have another season 2, can tell you what I was doing with that money. It was not the best of things. So I want young people to also know how to make better decisions in terms of their spending, investing. But again, the goal is one day to build a neobank. Remember the experience I had close to 10 years ago is we want people to first know how to manage their money. And once they know how to manage their money, they know how to invest, to save, then we can get them to that point of getting a product that will actually serve them and serve their needs in a better way. Traditional banks are still very bureaucratical, very slow to change. And I think there needs to be a paradigm shift. And I think someone needs to step up the game and change. You don't need to open an account in 3 days or 4 days. I mean, it needs to be a split of a second. But the first thing is we want to understand the behaviors of consumers, get to know where their money is going, how they're saving. We might think the money is in the banks, but it's in mobile money. So let's just help them, empower them, get a rapport with them. Then after that, we figure out what's next. So MyZola is very interesting. Super excited about where we're going to take this.
You're my friend. I need more friends like you to build banks.
I know.
I love the ambitiousness.
Definitely.
I know.
Yeah.
And still question on MyZola. So you've built Uzapoint 8 years, right? Of course, super experienced. You speak fluent fintech, like you just said. So just curious now for MyZola, like what are some of the things that you've learned through the years that you're doing differently now? Of course, like we said, when you're starting out from uni, you just take things as they come. You're bold, but now you have a lot of experience under your belt. So what are you doing different now?
I think from an entrepreneurial point of view, I think that's the first thing I want to talk about is team. Starting off, team wasn't a big thing. It was more of proof of concept. The only way I can wear this many hats is if you have experienced people to handle different aspects. So most of these three hats that I wear, we have experienced people who are handling different aspects. So that's why it's been maybe less than a year, and we are
Okay.
about to go to the market. We're doing beta testing next month, and what do you call it? A soft launch, maybe in October or November.
Okay.
But the only way we've managed to do that, and it's not been as training as it was from the get-go, is if you get experienced people to give you the right info, the right knowledge to set it out. So I think the one thing that people overlook is getting the right team. And I think when starting Uzapoint, the only reason why we built it 6 times is because we started with anyone, But again, with our resources at the time, we had no choice. So I think team for me will be a big thing. Now building these different products with experts has been an amazing journey.
Damn. I think that's powerful.
Solid. I'm curious about, so very inspiring journey, and I'm sure you've had very hard moments.
Yeah.
You said we'll circle back to that. So what were some of the hardest moment you experienced, and how did you pull yourself out of it?
Okay. So one of the toughest seasons of every entrepreneur is when you lose your biggest team members. I think one of the hardest things I never mentioned is when I started Uzapoint, I had a co-founder. But at a certain time, because of the bootstrapping journey and all that, they left. Then also losing your main developers or people who you've worked with for years and years. So I think those times hit hard. As you grow, you learn now not to be less attached to people, because that day will come where someone will offer them a better deal, where they will get greener pastures. And so for me, I think those were the times which were really crazy. Of course, the tough times where no capital and you need to figure out how to survive. Stay 3 months or more. You've not sorted out employees, you need the product out. So I think those were really tough times. But I believe in the mantra of where if you just keep on pushing, these things come your way. And I cannot explain how things got actually to this point. We've gotten very good strategic investors, not VCs, angel investors, people who've just come across the journey and supported us, companies like Google, Total, who've come in, given us grants. So all that, partners we've worked with in different industries in the fintech space, whether it's lending, BNPL, people just come and show up, and that elevates you to the next level. So I believe it's a matter of just whatever Tesh said, showing up. The moment you keep showing up, you keep on doing the most and keep on being authentic in whatever you're doing. Things just align, the stars align. I remember Paulo Coelho said, if you want something really bad, the whole world conspires to give you what you really want. I think that's what I would say.
Damn, it's
Mic
like
drop.
Yeah, I know. It's like you've already said the parting shot. But like as we close, maybe you can just tell us what the future for Uzapoint is, and just what would you tell a young Abraham out there who's thinking of starting something new, leaving what they wanted to do as a DJ and going another path.
Pursue your dreams of being a DJ. Anyway, I always talk about 3 things before I even say about our plans for Uzapoint. 3 things: patience, 3 P's: patience, perseverance, and passion. Patience is knowing that these things are not built in one day. It takes time for something good to be made. And many young people give up too early. You get, like, I wish you just knew you were a minute away to your success. If only you kept on pushing. So that patience should be there. That drive should be there. Keep pushing. Passion is do something you really love. When you think of all these founders, Elon Musk is just another story on his own, because he's had so many failures, especially with SpaceX. And all the big mentors used to tell him, this cannot be done. You get. So do something that you're very passionate about. And for me, the passion comes from the impact that I will create through the products. By the time I get back to MyZola or Uzapoint, it is pure passion on the impact I want to create. Right now, we've done 1,500 businesses. The turnaround time for businesses is still long, but I know consumers will be more. So I want to come back here after a few years and say, I now have 1 million customers.
You can't wait to have you.
Yes, you get who are using the product. So for me, it's more impact driven to see how these products are revolutionizing. So passion is a big thing. And then, of course, perseverance. Keep pushing. It's never easy. Anyone who told you it's easy, they're lying. Keep pushing. It will actually work out. So that's my parting shot to a young Abraham. And looking forward to seeing more people at the top. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah,
Nice.
thanks.
Mm-hmm.
This was awesome. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and keep moving and shaking. I really love the ambition to build a bank, 1 million customers. Not every other business person, entrepreneur
Things
will things
like
big.
that.
So keep that going.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Good job with Chapter. Let's keep transforming these SMEs.
Yes.
I love what you guys are doing. I love the podcast. Let's keep at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Abraham.
for coming. Yeah. Champions, please subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories like this ones. And you can find us on Instagram, TikTok, X, chapter.co everywhere. And we'll see you next time.